How far did you go in a game of truth or dare? I jumped 20 stairs, almost 3 meters height, I think. I was stupid. I tore a ligament in knee. I jumped out a window. I couldn't see the ground because it was dark, and when my feet hit, my knee slammed into my jaw and busted 2 teeth. That was an expensive dare. I was sitting with my girlfriend next to me and received the dare: kiss the person next to you. I made eye contact with her, smiled, and leaned in. As soon as I saw her close her eyes, I whipped around to my right, grabbed my friend's jaw, and kissed him square on the lips. Oh, she was mad, but oh, was it worth it? It was a sleepover with 2 boys and 3 girls at this girl's house. I was one of the lucky guys. We were playing truth or dare, and our clothes were coming off piece by piece. I got dared to wear a leopard bra from the girl of the house's dresser. Right as I put it on and start dancing around like a silly idiot, her mom walks in and I get sent home. Edit: we were about 14 to 15, so it all was pretty exciting. When I was much younger, 2 girls, my friend and I, were hanging out. We eventually started playing truth or dare, which eventually ended in the girls daring us to give them massages. Those manipulative brats. Got free massages out of it too, because there was no way in hell we were going to say no to girls lifting the backs of their shirts up and unhooking their bras. That was, sadly, all the further it went. I don't exactly remember what happened after the massages. I'm pretty sure the blood was directed away from my brain at the time. I think we may have been called down for dinner or something, or the girls had to go home or something of the sort. We were, as I said, young, at a friend's house for a sleepover when I was maybe 12 or so. Just me, my brother, and the friend playing truth or dare, really just dare, because truth is lame as F. We were doing the typical shit, making drinks out of condiments and other stuff to chug, putting household items in the freezer, etc., when I was hit with a effing dare bomb. Sneak into his sister's room, who was a few years younger than us, go to her personal bathroom, take a shit, and leave it. Ninja shit? I'm down. So I left a monster log in her toilet and sneakily waddled back out to the main bathroom to wipe. Can't have toilet paper obstructing the view of that beautiful brown python. The next morning, we woke up to screams. I got a very stern talking to, but I know both my friend's dad and my dad were laughing inside. Also, I was strictly forbidden from entering her room. Totally worth it. You win, dude. I'm effing dying over here. Was dared to go home. I went home. As a kid, my cousin always beat the shit out of me and was a terror. One day she dared me to go to the very top of the roof, and I'm not sure if she asked me to jump off or stand on the edge. I do not want to exaggerate, so I'll assume stand. I did, with my toes being in the air and the rest of my feet on the edge of the roof. I was 10 years old, and that was the first time I felt like not wanting to live, despite having been generally happy and well at the time. I had my pants down to my ankles with my underwear pulled down to expose my cheeks, and had to waddle for 2 blocks whilst having my shirt pulled behind my head and pinching my nipples. I played this a lot, ate an entire watermelon, ate stick of butter, female, wore men's underwear and put a sock into it like it's AD, then say stuff in a gruff manly voice. Someone else was dared to bite my ear sexily and ended up tearing part of it off, body shots, but using maple syrup, pleasuring in front of a group while fully clothed. Not a super big deal, but back in the day when I was only 13, I was playing truth or dare at my best friend's house. She had invited another friend over, who was a kid that bullied me at school. My friend pulled me aside and told me to my surprise that the kid had a crush on me and was planning to kiss me that night. I wasn't having any of that, because that kid was a prick. Would rip up my homework and get me in trouble, make fun of anything he could about me in a super mean way, and always interrupted me when I tried to talk. So this little a-hole was bragging about how he was the king of truth or dare, and it came my turn to dare him. I dared him to drink a concoction that my best friend and I were going to make in the kitchen. He accepted. So we go into the kitchen and get a cup, and we're putting the grossest shit we can find in it. I'm talking pickle juice, cough syrup, cumin spice, red pepper flakes, sprinkles for texture, cottage cheese, peanut butter, beef stew, apple juice, vinegar. We even found some spoiled milk to put in it. It was gross as hell. We give the cup to him and warn him that it's pretty damn disgusting. I told him that it was okay if he didn't want to drink it, because we did go a little overboard, LOL. He told me rudely to shut up and that he was the king of truth or dare, and he chugs this shit. A couple seconds later, he makes this awful face and runs out the door to the back porch and pukes over the side of the railing. Needless to say, I did not receive any kiss that night. I guess it worked out. It wasn't me, but on the way to a track meet in 8th grade, my friend and I were sitting in the seats about 3 rows from the back of the bus. Almost all of the guys on the team were behind us, small school, small team. I don't know if it was a dare or what, but I heard them saying something about getting hard, and when I looked over at my friend, I saw one dude jogging off out of the corner of my eye. I tried to go across the row to my friend's seat so I didn't have to see that to talk to her, and I was yelled at by one of the coaches to go back to my seat. These guys would also occasionally sit kinda close to the front, and one would play corn and hold their phone out in the middle of the aisle for the rest to see. I haven't been in track since, probably about 19-ish at the time. Male. Got dared to lick chocolate sauce off a girl's bare tit. She wasn't into me but loved the attention, so I went for it. Another time I was dating someone at the time, and they dared her to give me a BJ under a blanket. She went for it and nobody actually believed it was happening. My one friend called BS on me and I swore, no dude, she's effing sucking it right now, back off. Then his girlfriend shouted no effing way and tried to yank the blanket off. I grabbed it back and leaned over to the side to hide our sinfulness, but I'm pretty sure they caught a glimpse. My friends invite me to a party that they were hosting. They were play truth or dare. It got out of hand when one of us got dared to run on one side of the roof to the other side. My friend fell for the house and broke an arm. We did not play truth or dare again. Not exactly truth or dare, but my friends and I constantly rattle each other with this game we call odds. Essentially, you ask a person what are the odds you do. The action being literally anything the person says. The victim can give any odds of them doing it, like 1 out of 10 chance or 1 out of 1,000 chance. Whatever. Though our group, hella seasoned, generally never give odds over 1 out of 10. There's a countdown after the odds are given, where the 2 players pick a number within the odds, so 1 out of 10, the players pick any whole number from 1 to 10. If the players call the same number, the victim has to do whatever the action was or be forever roasted for it. In one particular case, a friend of mine lost a 1 out of 5 odds of getting a full force powerhouse spank from a wooden bread serving board. That thing was thick. The victim had a hole his cheek bruised and couldn't sit comfortable for some time. We suffer. We suffer for the stories we can tell. Made out with a girl for the first time in 7th grade. Made out with others, but obviously the first time was the most eventful. Especially because I was a total dork and she pulled me in, later saying she thought I'd appreciate it. Which I goddamn did. What a patriot. Kate was a college girl in a middle schooler's body. It was what are the odds, but close enough. It was December in Alaska and we were chilling in the hot tub and I got dared to, with my friend, go into the middle of the street, drop trowel and do 10 push-ups, then run all the way up the street and ding-dong ditch a house of this a whole kid while buck-ass naked and streak the way back. Odds were 1 out of 100 and I effing lost. Great game at 2 a.m. though. I asked the girl out over text, to which she said yes. Normally, this would be a good thing, but in this case, I didn't actually want to go out with her. Since me and my friends weren't that big of C-words, but were also our words, we spent the rest of the entire night trying to figure out the best way to resolve the situation. I wish we came up with a solution that made for a better story, but we simply got our heads on right and I gently told her that I didn't actually want to date her. Me and my cousins were dared to cut off someone's electricity from some box outside. It made a loud sound, then their lights went out, then someone came outside and started yelling, so naturally our dumbass run through the rest of the houses to the other side of the trailer park. A few minutes later we heard sirens and seen red and blue flashing lights. We stayed at one of my cousin's friend's house for a few minutes until they left. Apparently that's illegal according to his friend, but I never looked into it. This is stupid. When I was 14, I was playing a game late one night, about 2 a.m., on my cousin's porch. I refused to answer the truth. The dare I got instead was I had to take an empty measuring cup across the street and ask the city's assistant chief of police for a cup of sugar. It sounds like no big deal, but when Mr. Ellis came to the door mad as hell, my heart was racing. To his credit, the man actually filled my measuring cup full of sugar and told me to never ask him again. It was a shit thing to do. I still respect him for not flipping out on me to this day. I put my fingers inside another man's hole. For context, we were at sea, drunk after 3 months away from home, bored. Other people were drinking beer through dirty Hoover tubes, think skin flakes and nail clippings, setting their pubes on fire. Eating jizz off of biscuits. That kind of thing. It gets boring at sea. When they dared me to take a bath because apparently I stink, I was like, what? I took a shower a month ago. WTF. My girlfriend, now wife, ended up having 3 sons with one of the other girls while people watched. Almost was a 4 sons, but the other girl chickened out. Let's just say that was the first of many 3 sons we've had. This happened very recently, but one time I was drinking with a group of friends really late at night and this girl dared me to go pool hopping and jump in naked. No one thought I was about that action until they saw my twin jewels of Mayathrilian dangling around as I hopped in the pool. Got dared by a friend to make out with her gay friend at the time. Best kiss I've had to this point even still. Dares escalated from there and the 3 of us went to the bedroom and I found out I was bisexual. It was fun, of course, but sharing such a serious moment of discovery in my life with my friend actually ended up being incredibly intimate, and I'm glad it happened the way it did. Nude jumping jacks. When I went camping with a group of 5 to 6 friends, we played it around a fire, and we basically got bets on what we'd do, and I was an idiot and always did dare cause I got money for it, and the dare I was given was to catch a wild pig and kill it. I was allowed at the time we were on our friend's parents' private property. I was allowed a knife and 10 of rope, and what I did was set up a pit and a tripwire around an area, and I chased a pig to this spot and it jumped the thing and landed in the pit. Since I grew up hunting in junior military camps, I was pretty used to death. It had snapped its front legs and I slit its throat, gutted, and then we ate it. Now I look back at that years later, that was really effed up, and I don't know why I did that. Some dude spit in a shot glass with liquor inside, then I drank it. The game was an adult version of Truth or Dare. I'm not sure if there were cards involved or if it was an app. I played it in college 4 years ago. All I know is I won and everyone seemed to be a lot more grossed out than I was. One time I was with a couple of friends near the parking lot of a grocery store, exchanging truths and dares. When it was my friend's turn to ask me for a dare, he was slightly stumped. There was a lady who was probably in her 70s walking out of the store, eating a frozen ice cream bar. She was pretty fat, it looked childish, and she had noticeably big hippo legs. Suddenly a car drove by, splashed some muddy water on her, and drove off without acknowledging her. She even cried like a little kid, yet held onto her precious ice cream bar without even lowering it. That's when my friend finally came up with a dare. I was told to come up to her, lie about how we're going to pick her up in a few minutes, bring her home, and help clean her in any way. She just needs to sit on the bench and wait for us. I felt bad after that, and I know that's just low and not even very daring. But I never played this game a whole lot. Pressed a fire alarm at tennis camp when I was younger, and everyone on the courts and in the main building had to evacuate. My punishment was oddly not that bad considering the reputation I had built up as a troublemaker at the time. An ice cream truck would come on Friday and I would start at the front of the line. Every time a kid stood behind me in line, I had to go behind them and explain why. It sounds annoying when there's a 100+ kids of all different tennis groups, but I thought it was pretty funny at the time. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Also check out our other videos and have an amazing day.